That the patriarchy is oppressive.
Absolutely, oppressive to everybody. More superficially beneficial than not to men, but still acts in a way that oppresses them.
I don't know if you've thought about this, though. How can the patriarchy be oppressive to women when it was a man who invented the tampon?
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video. We got an angry feminist getting schooled by Jordan Peterson's logic. It's about to be good. It's about to be lit. But before we even get into that, man, do me a huge favor. Leave a like, comment, subscribe.
What about Dr. Peterson? But this week, I'm going full immersion. I've eaten only beef. I've read his book, and I've watched a lot of YouTube videos. There's only one thing left to do. School of Feminists. So I'm going to the top of feminism's dominant hierarchy, Clementine Ford, best-selling author of Fight Like a Girl and Boys Will Be Boys. Do you believe that the patriarchy exists?
Obviously, yes, I do. I do believe that the patriarchy exists, and more to the point, I accept the reality of the patriarchy. For me, it's not an issue of belief or not, it's understanding that it's real.
And do you think that the patriarchy is oppressive?
Absolutely, oppressive to everybody. More superficially beneficial than not to men, but still acts in a way that oppresses them.
I don't know if you've thought about this, though. How can the patriarchy be oppressive to women when it was a man who invented the tampon?
Well, you've undone my entire worldview now.
I read it here, that's it.
It's interesting. Firstly, it assumes that women or people who bled prior to the invention of the tampon had absolutely no way of dealing with their menstrual cycles. And of course, we have all of human history to disprove that theory and the fact that we're still standing here today.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that a man invented the tampon, a man invented the pad.
What I'm thinking she's trying to say is, what were we using before y'all used the tampon or whatever? That's what I'm thinking she's trying to say. I'm thinking she's trying to say, hey, what did we need y'all before then? What were we using before then? That's what I'm thinking. Maybe I'm misinterpreting it, but
a man invented the birth control pill, and these are all things that only really, well, not birth control pill, but the other two only really help women. So those are men trying to help women. How are they also part of the oppressing of women if they're helping them?
Well, the thing is that not every single man is an active, conscious agent of the patriarchy. Of course we know that there are many men out there who support.
now all of a sudden is, well, of course it's not every single man. You should have said that before. You should have started that off. It's not all, but barely so.
The rights of women and bleeding people in their lives to achieve freedom and dignity and movement throughout the world. So it doesn't surprise me that there would be some men who have women in their lives who would be invested in making those lives easier for women. But I just want to go back to this point that actually people who bleed have been managing their menstrual cycles since the dawn of humanity. It's not so much that a man invented the sanitary pad or invented the tampon. It's that men historically have had access to spaces and to education and to industry that allows them to create certain versions of things that have already been used for
I was right. I was pretty much right. She was pretty much saying we had what were we using before men even showed up? What were we using before even men showed up? So she's pretty much just trying to discredit us. That's all she's trying to do. She's trying to discredit us and trying to say, well, yeah, y'all created it, but we've always had it. We just probably didn't have a name for it. We've always had it. Y'all just reinvented it to a better way where we can use it. Stop discrediting the person, man.
thousands and thousands of years. Women have invented things too,
Like,
like the internet.
the problem is that if we all accept that we
I mean, her logic is getting destroyed. I'm talking about getting destroyed bad. Now, she just said, the lady asked, well, what did y'all create? She said the internet. When you look up who created the internet, Bob Kane, or Khan, or whatever his name is, and Vint Cerf. I don't even know how to say these people's name, but these two people right here, shit debunked. Easy, not see, and you can just see, you can already tell she's already grasping for straws just off the strength of the conversation about tampons. Now, with this, you just know that she's just lying at this point. She's just trying to make up shit to try to cover her ground, and it's sad, Brand. That's just a lot of feminists today. Logic is not amongst modern women in this Western society. Logic is not amongst us or amongst them. To sit over here and lie and say, well, women create the internet, just Google it, people.
There is an oppressive patriarchy. Then we are now telling young men that you are a beneficiary of this patriarchy, and it's making them feel bad. And it's, and they're not feeling good, and they don't want to go to university, and this is a real issue because we need men to be leading the way.
Do we?
Apparently, yes. Yes, because if the numbers of men in social sciences decreases, as they're decreasing every year, not in STEM subjects, but social sciences, then they're no longer going to be going to the top of these industries. And then, in that case, where are women going to find people to marry and mate with? Because women want to mate up, men mate across and down. So if we don't have these men staying at the top, how are the women going to mate up?
Well, I think maybe one of the problems that is challenging men like Jordan B. Peterson and his acolytes these days is not so much who women are going to marry up with or mate up with, but that more and more women are choosing not to marry and not to mate at all because they realise that these situations and these structures for them are actually not all that liberating. Not currently in the world that we live in, where when women do marry, they end up doing the bulk of the domestic workload. They end up doing significant hours of unpaid work. If children enter the picture, then women's workload astronomically increases while men's workload decreases. It's actually
women doing hours of unpaid work. Oh, what?
Actually not advantageous at all for women to choose to live with men in romantic partnerships. The fact that we still do it indicates to me that there's not a lot that Jordan really needs to be concerned about. This is just about maintaining men's primacy and maintaining men's position at the top of the pile. I think it seems more that what is concerning him is that men no longer have power over women.
So you would say you would disagree with this quote then? I've watched.
That is true. We are low-key losing power. Men are low-key losing power toward women. Because you look at it today, look at the women. And this also goes into what you said before that. Women really don't need men at this point. You know what I'm saying? Women aren't getting married. Women aren't having kids because, she's saying it ain't as liberal or liberation or whatever. Women aren't getting married and having kids today because, number one, feminism has allowed women to say, okay, we don't need men. We have all this shit that men invented for us. That's enough for us to say, hey, okay, well, they gave us enough. We don't need y'all no more. Now we're independent. We're boss babes. We're boss bitches. We're boss babe single mothers. That's the top reason why a lot of women aren't getting married. Women aren't getting married because of feminism. That's a strong indicator. It's because of feminism. You don't hear no traditional woman talking about, well, I don't want to get married. I don't want to have no kids. And I think the traditional woman wants all that. A feminist, today's feminists, do not want that. It's all about women empowerment. It's all about sleeping with everybody you can so you can conquer your sexuality. It's all about feeling independent. It's all about forgetting about the small jobs that everybody should be working at. Let's go ahead and have women try to take care of these big chain jobs, such as these corporate jobs and stuff. Well, we need somebody down here for mining. Well, we need somebody over here for garbage. Well, we need somebody over here for plumbing, this, that. We need a head for all of those, but we don't. It's all men, but women don't want that. Women only want the corporate jobs. Women only want the big jobs.
Women go through their professional careers. It's a rare woman who, at the age of 30, doesn't consider having a child her primary desire. And the ones that don't, there's generally something not quite right in the way that they're constituted or looking at the world.
That sounds to me like quack psychology that is better placed in the 19th century than in the 21st century, and certainly not the kind of science that should be asserted based on a handful of observations.
Well, he says there are plenty who will just simply not admit to having this as their primary desire.
Oh, that's interesting. So he's claiming to be a mind reader.
Yes.
Also a form of quack science that certainly has not been proven to have any sort of basis in reality. I mean, it's convenient, I'm sure, for Jordan B. Peterson to decide that he knows better than the women he's speaking to what they truly feel. But it's certainly not a revolutionary position for a man to take. It's certainly not something that men throughout history have not been guilty of doing. As a woman, I certainly know that I belong to a class of people whose desires and ideas and mentality about the world are consistently disclaimed by men around me. That my actual mentality or my actual emotions about things I'm not thought to be in control of them, that I need a man to define those experiences for me. And Jordan B. Peterson clearly feels able to do that, despite the fact that I'm not really sure he knows all that many women based on what he said.
He says that people say there aren't enough women in top jobs, in leadership positions. And he says that's the wrong question. That's the wrong question to be asking. We should be asking, why would anyone, mostly men, want these jobs at all? Because they're not good jobs. They're stressful, and you work overtime, and, well, you get paid well. But while women leave law firms at around the age of 30, when they're all wanting kids, it's actually they're smarter because they're doing that, because they know that this is not a good job to be in. So really, women have it better off because they're the ones who are smart enough to know to leave these high-paying but very stressful jobs. And it's men who are dumb and decide to stay in them.
Yeah, it sounds like a convenient way to excuse men continuing to stay in the top.
Yeah, most definitely. Men are going to stay in most jobs. If it's paying good, most men will endure that pain. Most men will endure that pain because, dude, nobody has that. No, I don't think any adult who has bills to pay has a luxury to just have a good paying job and just quit because it's stressful. Women are always going to be the one to quit the job before a man does. Women are always going to be the ones to try to wiggle their way out of something. Men negotiate. Men say, hey, man, look, let's do this, let's do that, you know what I'm saying, so I can get where I need to be, and hey, stress-free, baby. But still at the end of the day, men are the ones that work on average more hours than women, and that's a fact. And men will always do that. Why? Because we don't have anything hindering us from working besides ourselves. I mean, if you are dumb enough to leave a job that is good paying, and I'm only talking about for men, not women, because you do have a kid, it's understandable. You know what I'm saying? You're pregnant, you don't need all that stress. From my understanding, if a pregnant woman is stressed out a lot, it can harm the baby. So, as me as a father, if I want to be a father or whatnot, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want my wife or my girlfriend who's carrying my child in that position. Hey, baby, look, do your thing. You need to go ahead and take that leave off. So, stating back that she's talking about, a lot of women having work unpaid hours. I don't know where she got that from.
Echelons of society. I mean, I'd be interested to know. He's written a book called 12 Rules for Life, in which he argues that it's actually not very smart to want to vie for these top positions. I know he certainly has an enormous following of young white men around the world. I'd be interested to know if in their reading of this book and their embrace of his philosophies, if they've also decided to stop vying for the top positions in the top industries, or if they consider that to be not quite part of the 12 rules, but a rule of which they can use to excuse or to dismiss the fact that they have privilege in those positions. Oh, well, of course, I am a partner in a law firm, but, it's not a very smart thing to be. I tell you what, it is certainly very smart to, in the kind of world that we live in, to be able to control your own economic future. And it is not smart as a woman, as he seems to claim. It is not the smartest thing to remove yourself from industry and to remove yourself from economic independence and rely on a man to take care of you. The divorce rates alone show that to be the case. The fact that women consistently retire with far less retirement funds than men do show that to be the case. And, in Australia, where I'm from, the fastest growing group of homeless people in the country are women over the age of 65. So it doesn't seem to me to be all that smart, actually, to put ourselves in positions where we are reliant on anyone else, but least of all, a man, to take care of us.
So you're saying there's more to these rules than just the one sentence?
I'm saying that I think life is a little bit more complicated than Jordan B. Peterson has decided he's going to profit out of pretending it is.
I just want you to just think about this. Let's just say we are letting women become getting these corporate jobs, getting these top high-paying jobs. They run this business, right? They get pregnant. How would that work? How would that work? If you are like, there's nobody higher than you. These are the jobs that women want. They want these corporate jobs where they're number one. If she becomes, and let's just say these 30s, 40s, 20s, 30s, they try to get up in these corporate jobs. You have kids, then what? You're gonna have to constantly have men coming in and out and switching your place. But I'm guessing because she will be in a power position, she will have another female come take that spot. It's not a woman's position to be in a top position like that. Period. In my opinion, it is not prudent for a woman to be in a man's position when it comes down to running a full live business, unless she bought it up from the ground up. But you talking about these big corporate jobs? No. Shouldn't no woman be leading that? Shouldn't no woman be leading that? Because they lead with feelings and they have too much against them. You're on your cycle, so you're mad at everybody. You want to cuss everybody out. You're pregnant, so now you have to be on leave for a few months. You come back, you know what I'm saying? You want to have another kid, you got to be on leave again. No boss that's running a business is doing that. What makes you think a man is going to let you just come up in there and just mess it up like that, dude? Like, there's a whole lot more to women not being in corporate world than just, oh, well, it's privilege. It's not privilege, bro. It's not privilege. Men have always ran the world. I don't know where women think they can get the notion that they're going to take over. It's not going to happen. Racism isn't going to end. Black people will always be behind. And yes, due to part of racism, because we do have disadvantages. Now it's up to us to make those changes and adapt. But what I mean by we'll always be at a disadvantage, I really doubt you will ever see a full black president that's my skin complexion, that will go into office, that will actually make the damn necessary changes that's needed for black people. You will never see that. America ain't gonna let that happen. Government ain't gonna let that happen. There's only but so much you can do even as a president. So you definitely know there's only but so much you can do as a black president. So man, look, dude, just do me a favor, man. Leave a like, comment, subscribe.